I almost ignored the notification. It was late on a Thursday night. I was tired from a long week, and my phone buzzed once on the nightstand. I nearly put it back down without looking, but something made me reach for it. A group chat had added me by mistake. 3 people already deep in conversation. I didn't recognize the name of the chat immediately. Then I read the first message, and my entire world stopped moving. The first name I saw was Marcus, my best friend since we were 14 years old. The second name was Daniel, my younger brother. The third name made my chest close completely, my wife. They weren't discussing anything innocent. They were discussing me. Marcus had written something first. He suspects nothing. Keep it normal this weekend, my wife replied within seconds. I will. He's been so focused on work lately. Easiest cover we've ever had. Then Daniel. Just be careful. He's smarter than you think. My wife again. Not smart enough. I sat on the edge of my bed and read those 4 messages probably 30 times without blinking. My hands weren't shaking. That surprised me more than anything. I wasn't crying. I wasn't angry. I just felt completely cold from the inside out. Like something fundamental had quietly switched off inside me without asking for permission first. Let me tell you about Marcus. We grew up on the same street 3 houses apart. We played together every single day from age 8. He was there when my father left. He was there when I got my first job. He sat in the front row at my wedding and gave a speech that made my mother cry happy tears for 20 minutes. He was the person I called at 2 in the morning whenever something felt wrong. He knew every single thing about my life, every fear, every plan, every dream I had ever spoken out loud, and he used every single piece of that knowledge against me. Now let me tell you about Daniel. He was 3 years younger than me, and I spent most of my childhood making sure nothing bad happened to him. I took punishments for things he did. I lent him money without keeping track of it. I defended him in arguments he had no business starting. When he needed a place to stay during a difficult year, I gave him my spare room for 8 months without charging a single cent. He was my blood, the person I trusted without question or hesitation, and my wife. 7 years together, 3 years married. I had quietly planned our entire future together in my head more times than I could count. The house we were going to buy, the family we talked about starting, the life I genuinely believed we were building together in the same direction. I sat in that bedroom for a very long time without moving or making a sound. The house was completely quiet around me. She was downstairs watching something on television, laughing at something every few minutes like everything was completely normal, like nothing in the world was wrong. Then I did something that surprised even me. I didn't reply to the group chat. I didn't storm downstairs. I didn't confront her with the phone in my hand while my voice broke. I took a screenshot of every single message. Then I kept scrolling. There were months of messages sitting above those 4. I read every single one of them slowly and carefully. The further back I scrolled, the worse it became. This had been going on for over a year, planning around my schedule, laughing about things I had said, discussing how I never noticed anything. I read it all without flinching. Then I plugged my phone into the charger, turned the bedroom light off, pulled the covers over me, and went to sleep. Because somewhere between reading the first message and reaching the end, I had made a quiet decision. If the 3 people I trusted most in this world wanted to play a careful hidden game, then I could play one too. And I had one enormous advantage over all of them. They had no idea I was playing. The next morning, I woke up before her, made coffee, kissed her on the cheek when she came downstairs, asked about her plans for the day with a completely normal expression on my face. She smiled and told me her schedule without hesitation. I nodded and finished my coffee and drove to work. That afternoon, I called a lawyer from my car in the parking garage. Not a divorce lawyer, not yet. A financial lawyer. Because the first thing I needed to understand was exactly what was mine, and exactly what could disappear if I moved too fast. Over the following weeks, I moved quietly and carefully through every area of my life. I opened a separate bank account at a different institution. I started redirecting a portion of my income slowly enough that nothing looked unusual. I gathered every document I needed and stored copies somewhere safe that had nothing to do with our shared home. I went to dinner with Marcus twice during that period. I laughed at his jokes. I asked about his life. I told him things were good. He looked me directly in the eyes and lied to my face without blinking once. I had dinner with Daniel as well. He was warm and relaxed and completely comfortable sitting across the table from me. He asked how my wife was doing. I said she was wonderful. He smiled and said he was glad. I smiled back. 3 months after that notification appeared on my phone, I had everything I needed in place. The legal groundwork was done. The finances were protected. The documentation was complete. On a Sunday morning, I waited until she finished her coffee. Then I placed my phone on the table between us. The screenshot was already open. She looked down at it. The color drained from her face completely. She opened her mouth. I raised one hand. I have known for 3 months, I said quietly. Everything is already handled. The lawyer is already involved. The accounts are already separated. She stared at me without speaking. I just wanted you to know that I knew, and that I never said a word. I stood up from the table. That is the difference between us. I left the house that morning and never went back to live in it. I have spoken to Marcus once since then. He tried to apologize through a long message I read once and never responded to. Daniel called me 4 times. I answered the last one. He spoke for a long time. I listened until he finished. Then I told him I hoped he had a good life. And I hung up. Some people ask me if I regret not confronting them sooner. I don't. Anger would have felt satisfying for 5 minutes. What I did instead gave me something that actually lasts. I walked away clean, with my dignity completely intact, while they had to live with knowing exactly what they did, and knowing that I knew, and knowing I never once lost control because of them. That is not nothing. That is everything.